The movie begins with Erwan, who is skydiving early in the morning. After landing with his parachute, he gets into his car and drives off. Erwan parks his car under a large building in New York City where his office was located. He worked at a broking firm, and when he reached his office, an ongoing meeting was already in progress. Erwan quietly sat down. The man leading the meeting was saying, "We should buy and hold for 5 to 6 months." George, sitting next to Erwan, asked, "But when should we buy? Now or 3 months later?" The economist replied, "I'm an economist, not a fortune teller." Their boss, William, then said, "George, if you can predict better than him, let me know. For now, everyone, keep buying stocks. 3 months are left in the year. If any of you want your bonus, then perform well." He ended the meeting and everyone applauded, except Erwan, who kept staring at the chart because it looked strangely familiar. Later at his desk, Erwan continued analyzing the chart. George asked him what he was doing and reminded him to start calling clients as the market had opened. All the brokers got busy convincing clients to buy more and more shares. At home that evening, Erwan kept researching the chart. It looked identical to something he had seen before. While searching online, he found that a woman named Sibyl from a university's Department of Climatology had researched similar patterns. The next day, Erwan flew out to meet her. He approached Sibyl at the university and said, "I'm a trader, and I've come a long way to meet you. Could I have 1 minute of your time? I want to show you something." He showed her the chart and said, "Do you see this pattern? The exact same pattern also appeared in this older chart. Did you write an article about this? Look, it's identical." Sibyl replied, "Patterns like these appear everywhere. I think you're wasting your time." Erwan said goodbye and left. Later, as Sibyl was leaving after work, Erwan approached her again and apologized. He said she truly wanted to help, but he felt she wasn't listening. Sibyl smiled and said, "You don't look like someone who gives up easily. You're definitely going to try that pattern." Erwan asked her for coffee, and they both spent some time talking. After a while, Sibyl said she had to leave to prepare for her class and went away. The next day at the office, a woman named Sarah entered. Ken began flirting with her, saying she should hire him as her boyfriend. Sarah replied that someone was already in her life. Their boss William arrived and left with Sarah. Ken was disappointed and said he thought she was single. Erwan teased him, saying he thought he could impress her with his bonus money. Ken told Erwan to mind his own business. That night, Erwan received a call from Sibyl. She said she studied the chart he showed her, and his observation was correct. When they met, Sibyl explained, "The pattern you noticed appears repeatedly, daily, monthly, even yearly. It's a footprint of human behavior. For over 50 years, these patterns have been signaling climate change. Climate influences market behavior. To put it simply, your chart pattern reflects market trends." Sibyl explained further to Irvin. "First, we'll work on a small climate change model. I can predict short-term shifts accurately." She opened a file on her screen and showed him a cube. "Look at this cube. It represents the global market. Every dot is a change. See that one big isolated dot? That's an isolated position. If we trade there, we have a 91% probability of success." In fact, Sibyl was a climatologist. She had discovered a link between climate change and stock market behavior. When climate shifts occur, human responses change, and those behavioral shifts show up in the market. By predicting those effects, they could make profitable trades. Erwan took Sibyl skydiving to demonstrate the idea, and she loved the experience. She even kissed him, and the two became intimate. The next day, Erwan explained the same pattern to George. "Look, the signal is clear. Stocks are due for a 5 to 10% correction. We saw the same pattern in 2003 during the bear market, and again in 2004 during the credit crisis when Hong Kong's market fell. Each time the market dropped, this pattern repeated. According to the model, now is the time to act. I've tested this pattern for a month. We must dive into the market today." George hesitated about risking money. He asked, "How much are we putting in?" Erwan told him, $1 billion. George nearly panicked. $1 billion? We can't take such a big risk. Erwan pushed back. This was their chance to get rich. Even a 10% market drop after they sell would earn the firm millions and net them a $5 million bonus. Imagine that bonus. It would clear debts and let George take his family to Rio. Erwan believed the market was at a high and a 10% correction was likely. Convinced by Erwan, George ordered Henry, who worked in the office, to buy 10,000 put contracts. Henry protested, "10,000 puts? Are you kidding?" But followed instructions and bought them at a price of 39 thus. Erwan messaged Sibyl that the puts had been bought. Now George was nervous. They had taken a massive position while stocks were still climbing. Tony, who worked with Erwan, reported that the market had risen 2%, and they were already $10 million down. With only 30 minutes to the close, a decision had to be made. Worried, Erwan called Sibyl again. "Is your prediction confirmed?" She replied, "I'm 90% accurate. the market will go down. Irvan snapped. What does 90% mean? There's a 10% chance it could go up. Sybil reminded him she doesn't claim to see the future, only to predict probabilities. Frustrated, Irvan slammed the phone down as losses mounted. Tony asked what they should do next. Irvan wanted to find George. He found George in the restroom and urged him, "The market's closing. We must decide fast." George admitted he was unsure. Irvan said they should hold their positions overnight and not give up. "Trust me, we'll succeed." Meanwhile, Sarah, in William's office, told William she'd delivered a big profit for the firm and expected a $1 million bonus. William praised her work and promised she'd get rewarded when the year closed, reminding her that the firm evaluates team performance. Sarah replied that being called a team player was easy, but her share was separate. William bluntly told her she could leave the company if she didn't like it. Despite William's words, Sarah had in fact produced substantial gains for the firm, but William still postponed confirming the bonus until year-end. Now William was hesitating to pay her bonus. Sarah had made William's firm a lot of profit, but now William was hesitating to give her the bonus. The market has now closed, and a man comes to everyone asking for information on paper about how many deals they made that day. After that man leaves, Irvan looks at his screen and sees a very large loss displayed on it. After that, William calls George and Irvan into his office, and William looks at George's statement. Then Irvan says that this is not the first time this has happened, and that they have held losing positions before as well. William replies that this is the first time their firm's loss has reached $30 million. Just then, Irvan says that they only need one more day's time. He promises William that by the next day, their profit will reach $300 million. He says they just need to maintain the position and they will become profitable. George, who is standing there, says not to be upset and that he will explain what has happened. William replies that he is not upset and asks what George is going to explain. He says that George has taken trades beyond his limits and that he is being fired from the job. George tells William that he cannot do this and that he has a family. He says that if William fires him, he will be blacklisted from the entire market. William replies that this is not his problem and tells George to leave. George again asks for just one more day's time. After that, William orders his men to remove George and Irvan from the office, and William's men start escorting both of them out. At that moment, Irvan gets angry and starts abusing William, saying that William will have to pay the price for this. After being fired, Irvan and George collect their belongings and leave the office. Outside, Irvan apologizes to George and says that all of this happened because of him. Meanwhile, George's family is at home preparing for Christmas and they are very happy. Standing outside, George looks at his happy family through his car, but now he has lost his job. George keeps thinking about how he will be able to keep his family happy now. On the other hand, Irvan is also sitting and thinking about what his future will be. Just then, Irvan receives a call from Tony, and Tony tells him that the market has gone down by 2% and that their prediction was absolutely correct. George is sitting inside his car and he takes out a gun, places it on his temple, and fires. Irvan calls George, but George does not answer the call anymore because he has already died. Later, Irvan attends George's funeral and meets George's wife. At that moment, William also arrives there and George's wife goes over to him. William hugs George's wife and consoles her. Sarah is also standing there, watching everything. Irvan starts to leave from there, but Sarah stops him and tells him that she has heard that they are going to file a case against him. She says that if Irvan wants to work in the market again, she has good connections. Irvan thanks Sarah and quietly leaves from there. At night, Irvan is with Sybil, and Sybil explains to him that none of this was his fault. Irvan replies that they were very close to success. He says they could have been profitable and George's life could also have been saved. After that, Irvan goes skydiving again so that he can keep himself motivated, and Irvan goes to meet a man named Arthur Bradigan. Arthur asks Irvan if he wants to start a hedge fund. Irvan replies yes, absolutely, because he has a successful model for generating consistent profits. Arthur says that Irvan is not the first one. Many people like him have come before, praised their models, started hedge funds, and then disappeared after blowing investors' money. Irvan replies that he assures Arthur that his model is rock solid. He says he has tested it many times and has been profitable every time. Hearing this, Arthur says that Sarah was right and that Irvan is very ambitious. After listening to Irvan, Arthur agrees to invest in Irvan's hedge fund. After that, Irvan starts a hedge fund called Flying Fund, and renovation work begins in his office. Sarah also calls Irvan and congratulates him, saying that she thinks her client is ready to invest in his hedge fund and that he will soon make an offer. Hearing this, Irvan feels happy, realizing that he has started a new beginning somewhere. Sarah also submits her resignation letter to William. After seeing the letter, William asks her what she plans to do next. Sarah replies that she has received an offer from Flying Fund. William says that it is a hedge fund, but he has never heard its name before. He asks who the manager of this hedge fund is. Sarah replies that it is Irvin Kermore, and that William must have heard the name. Hearing this, William gets angry, while Sarah happily leaves from there. After that, Sarah arranges a meeting for Irvin at a hotel where many well-known and wealthy people are present. During the meeting, Irvin gives a presentation explaining how the Flying Fund hedge fund has performed better than other hedge funds. Then a man sitting there asks Sybil what type of model she is using. At that moment, Irvin turns towards Sybil. Irvin does not allow her to answer the question and says that they cannot tell them this. He says that if they give an answer, then the secret of their model will no longer remain a secret. Then another man sitting in the meeting asks a question, saying that they will invest their money in the hedge fund, but first they want to know how much of his own money Irvin has invested in it. Irvin replies that whatever he had, he invested everything into this model. He says that he has come to make a comeback and that he will beat the market. After that, Sarah tells Irvin that many investors are fully ready to invest in their model and that she feels some more investors will also join in a few days. Hearing this, Irvin says that they have billions of dollars available to invest, which is a very good thing. In the movie, we then see Sarah, Henry, and Irvin sitting together in a restaurant. Sarah tells Irvin that William and Miller have arrived. Irvin also sees that his former boss has come there with a new woman, and William also notices Irvin. At the same time, Irvin receives a call from Tony, who has now started working for him. Tony tells Irvin that they have just made $20 million. Sybil takes the phone from Tony and says that just as she had predicted, she was right. Tony then asks them to quickly tell him what they should do next. Irvin replies that they will continue to hold their position. At the same moment, William, who is sitting there, also receives a call from Ken. Ken tells him that they are facing heavy losses. William asks how much the loss is. Ken replies that they are at a loss of approximately $200 million, and if they do not cut the position quickly, they will lose the profit they made throughout the entire year. William tells him to wait a little longer and see what happens. The team working in William's office is worried because their losses keep increasing. On the other hand, Tony, who works for Irvin, says that they are now at a profit of $100 million. Irvin then tells him to book the profit. Irvin claps and starts celebrating with Sarah and Henry. Then a man sitting at William's table says that William lost money today, but Irvin made a lot of money today. William replies that this keeps happening and says that he needs to go to the office and that they will meet later. Saying this, William gets up and leaves while looking at Irvin. After that, we are told about some very big and well-known people who are reading about Irvin in the newspaper. In the news, Irvin had said that he is the invisible hand of the market. After reading this news, one man says that what does this man even think of himself? He feels that Irvin considers the market to be a casino where sometimes one ends up making money. Then Arthur, who is standing there, says that he does not think so at all, because last year Irvin gave him a 40% profit. He says that he has been investing in hedge funds for many years, but he has never received such profit before. Then a man named David, who is sitting there, says that it is possible that Irvin's hedge fund might collapse within a year and that he is just lucky to be earning this much right now. Arthur replies that it is not luck, but that Irvin works according to his model and that he is more profitable than all his competitors. Hearing this, David calls William because David had invested in William's firm. David mentions Irvin's model to William and says that Irvin is a fraud and that all of this is just a rumor. David then says that if a fraud is making him money, then he will choose that person. He adds that he feels William should also work on some similar model. William begins to worry that Irvin is now also taking away his clients. Because of this, William holds a meeting with his team and gives them instructions. He says that now they have only one objective: to beat Flying Fund at any cost. He instructs them to find out Flying Fund's positions, take opposite trades, and discover Irvin's secret, how he trades. After that, Sybil is in Irvin's office when she receives a call. The caller says that he is Emil Gonzalez from a science magazine and that their magazine wants to publish an article about her. He asks if she can meet them for lunch this weekend. Irvin also hears the man's voice and recognizes it. Irvin then says, "Douglas, is that you?" He warns Douglas that if he ever tries to contact Sybil again or calls her, he will come there and break his nose. Douglas worked for William, and he wanted to meet Sybil to find out about her model. After that, in William's office, Ken is talking to a man, and that man tells Ken about Irvin's position, about which stock Irvin has bought. Ken tells William that they now know Irvin's position and asks if they should take the trade. William replies that yes, absolutely, they should take the opposite trade. Following William's instruction, Ken sells that same stock in a very large quantity, the stock that Irvin had bought. On the other hand, in Irvin's office, Irvin tries to create more buy positions, but he does not have much fund left to invest. and his profit starts decreasing. Irvan tells Tony that they are trying to eat away their profit and points out that their profit has started going down. After that, Irvan goes to Sybil and says that they will have to create new positions. He says that right now they are using only 10% of the money invested by their clients and that they will need more money because 10% is not enough for them. Sybil replies that this is normal and that every company uses only 10% of its assets. Irvan then asks why he spent millions of dollars on her research. Sybil replies that she is trying to give her best and that she cannot perform miracles. She adds that if Irvan feels that someone else can do this work better than her, then he should bring that person. Saying this, Sybil leaves from there. Now, after coming home, Irvan waits for Sybil, but Sybil arrives home quite late. Irvan then apologizes to Sybil for everything he said to her. Irvan promises Sybil that from now on, he will never say anything like that to her again. After that, Irvan was in his office when Sarah came to him and asked if he had seen their October performance. She says that she spoke to Arthur and that he is becoming very impatient. Irvan replies that there is nothing he can do about it. Sarah then warns him that if he says something like this in the board meeting tomorrow, he will regret it. Saying this, Sarah leaves from there. Irvan was not able to give much profit to his investors, which is why Sarah was shouting at him. After that, we see William's office, where Ken notices that a particular stock is going very high. Seeing this, William says that this must be Irvan, who is pushing the stock upward, and that they will also have to do something big. William then tells his team that they will put $5 billion into this stock, and that no matter what happens, they will not let that man become a fortune. Hearing this, William's team starts selling that stock. On the other hand, in Irvan's office, Tony says that suddenly everyone has started selling. Irvan replies that they have nothing to show as profit and that they will show profit in the October balance sheet. Sybil is also standing there and calls Irvan over. Irvan looks at the screen, and then Sybil says that nothing can be figured out from this data and that they will not be able to predict anything from it. She explains that those people are influencing the market and are taking opposite trades against him. She says that in such a market, they cannot predict where the market will go. Irvan shouts and asks that if predicting is not possible, then what will he go and say in the board meeting? Sybil replies that what can she do about it, and says that their model is dead. Irvan then accuses her, saying that she is working for them and that everyone here is becoming his enemy. Saying this, Irvan leaves angrily and Sybil becomes worried. Sybil keeps calling Irvan, but his call is not going through. The next day, Irvan reaches the board meeting, where the investors are waiting for him. During the meeting, Irvan says that this month they have increased their portfolio by 40% and that by the end of the year, this profit could reach 50%. Hearing this, everyone present in the meeting starts clapping after seeing Irvan's performance. One of the men happily congratulates him for performing so well. Another man says that he wants to invest $600 million more. In this way, some people say they will invest $400 million more, while others say they will invest $2 million more. Irvan then says that he is very happy to hear all their offers, but with such small amounts, they will earn very little profit. He says that if they want more profit, then their investment will also have to increase. One of the men then asks how much they should invest. Irvan replies that he wants to increase his risk limit even more. Arthur, who is sitting there, says that Irvan's risk limit is already very high. He explains that when Irvan puts $1 billion into the market, their bank gives him $10 billion in leverage. Irvan then says that every time he has proven through his model that he is profitable. Arthur replies that it is fine and that he will increase Irvan's fund, but he will need 1% more commission. Hearing this, Irvan agrees to Arthur's deal. Arthur was the chairman of the bank, and he was putting banking funds into Irvan's hedge fund, through which he earned both profit and commission. Earlier, Irvan's fund limit was $1 billion, which had now increased to $4 billion. After that, Irvan goes to his office and tells Tony to quickly buy billions worth of futures. Tony calls and tells everyone to buy everything quickly. From the other side, a voice asks what he said, saying that it was not clearly audible. Irvan says to buy all futures, with a minimum of 500 million, whether they are S&P futures, Hero Stock futures, or Nikkei futures. Following Irvan's instructions, Henry also tells his team to buy all futures. On the other side, William also tells his team in his office to buy. Huge quantities of stocks are being bought, and all the stocks start shooting up like rockets. Everyone begins buying futures in massive quantities, and all stocks are being manipulated. As a result, the Fed chairman is forced to come on television and make an announcement. all the traders listen to the Fed chairman's announcement, and the chairman announces that today he has decided to send a message to the market. He says that in recent days they have seen many irregularities in the market. He warns traders not to engage in any unlawful activity in the market, and says that if they find anyone manipulating the market, they will take action against them. At that moment, Tony says whether they should cut their position because they have already made $100 million. He adds that if they are caught doing something wrong, then Tony says that if they do this, they will be banned. Irvan replies that they are not going to stop just because of what that man said and that they will maintain their position. On the other side, in William's office, everyone is also listening to the same news. After the Fed chairman's announcement, Irvan's interview starts playing on the news channel. The reporter asks Irvan, "Mr. Kermore, you manage the most successful hedge fund on this planet. Just now, the Fed chairman has warned all traders not to create irregularities in the market. It is believed that you were also involved in the recent stock market explosion. What do you have to say about this?" Irvan replies that he feels there is nothing wrong with what is happening in the market. He says that government institutions are only trying to obstruct growth and that their system has become outdated. He says that they predict the future of the world and that now they themselves are the future of the world. Hearing this, the people in William's office and William himself start clapping at Irvan's words. After that, William tells his team that they must continue doing the same thing and tells them to get back to work. On the other side, Tony tells Irvan that their profit has increased to $1 billion. He asks whether this profit is enough and whether they should cut the position. Irvan replies no and says that they will wait longer. Sybil, who is standing there, asks Irvan what he is trying to do. Irvan replies that she cannot see it, saying that everyone is copying him. He says that by tonight they will be at $2 billion in profit. By tomorrow, they will be at $4 billion, and after that, $8 billion. He says that now he is running the market, that people believe in him and that they trust him. Sybil replies that he is going crazy. Irvan tells her that she will not understand this. Sybil then says that she is leaving, and saying this, she walks away. Irvan continues looking at the computer screen. After that, Irvan is at a party where everyone is cheering him. Sarah also arrives at the party and asks about Sybil and Irvan. Irvan's associates say that they do not know where she is. Sarah then calls Sybil, and Sybil tells her that she is at home. Sarah replies that she is coming to meet her. On the other hand, at the party, Irvan is drunk and surrounded by many girls. After that, Sarah goes and meets William and Robert. Sarah tells them that she wants $10 million, and only then will she tell them Irvan's secret, how he trades. Robert agrees and says the deal is done, asking her to tell them which model he uses. Sarah replies that there is no such model. She says that a short while ago, she spoke to Sybil and asked her about the model, and then she plays a recording. In the recording, Sybil says that their model is now dead. She says that earlier it was working very well, but now Irvan himself is running the market. She says that he is playing the market in his own way, that he has destroyed all market models, and that he is controlling the market using money. Hearing this, William and Robert understand that Irvan does not have any successful model at all. After that, William tells his team to sell everything. He repeats himself, telling them clearly to sell everything. Following William's orders, his team starts exiting the market because William now knows that Irvan is only manipulating the market. Later, Irvan is sleeping with girls when he receives a call from Tony. Irvan tells Tony that he has been calling him for a long time. Tony replies that today the market has opened low and that everyone is selling and exiting the market. Irvan asks how much loss they are running at. Tony replies that they are down by approximately $400 million. Irvan then tells Tony to call Henry and tell him to buy everything and push the market back up. Tony watches as the losses continue to increase, and he cannot understand what to do anymore. On the other side, Sybil has already left Irvan's house. Irvan also leaves for his office and sees that the market has gone down by 3%. When Irvan reaches his office, he sees that Tony is not there. The office is completely empty. Tony has also fled the office because he could not control the situation anymore. Irvan looks at the screen and sees that his loss has now reached $1 billion. Irvan then calls Henry. Henry tells him that the market is continuously falling and that panic has spread in the market. He says that rumors are spreading that Irvan's entire model is crap. Hearing this, Irvan becomes extremely angry and tells Henry to buy whatever is available. Henry replies that no one is buying anymore. Irvan shouts and tells him to do exactly what he is told. After that, Irvan receives a call from the bank, and the caller tells him that his limit has fallen very low and that if he wants to maintain his position, he will have to deposit more payment. Irvan then calls Arthur and tells him that he needs money. He says that they will reach their target soon and make a huge profit. Irvan says that they will make huge profits. Hearing this, Arthur replies that Irvan is a liar. He says that Irvan lied to them in the meeting by saying that he was profitable, and now he even has the audacity to ask them for more money. Irvan then says that if Arthur does not give him the money, he will be suspended from the market because Arthur has caused him a loss of $20 billion. Irvan threatens that he will file a complaint against Arthur and try to make him spend his life in jail. Angrily saying this, Arthur cuts the call. After that, Irvan calls Henry and tells him to buy more. Henry replies that he cannot buy any more for him and tells Irvan to watch the news, saying that he has already defaulted. Irvan also looks at his screen, and the same message is being shown there as well. Irvan then calls Sibyl and tells her that now he will end everything and make a fresh start. He says that he is coming to Montreal to her and that they will start a new life there. Irvan then books a flight ticket to Montreal. Just then, the office bell rings, and Irvan sees that some police officers are standing outside. They had come to arrest him. Sybil is also thinking about Irvan, so she tells her taxi driver to turn back and go to Irvan's office. Irvan does not open the door. The police start breaking the door, and Irvan, after putting on a parachute, is about to jump from the office. Just then, the police enter inside. Seeing the police, Irvan jumps with the parachute. After a short while, strong winds begin to blow. Irvan loses control and crashes into a building, after which he falls straight down. So friends, this is how the movie comes to an end. If you enjoyed this movie explanation, let us know in the comment section how you felt about it. Make sure to like the video if you found it interesting, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more such amazing movie stories. The picture is still remaining, so stay connected, and we'll see you in the next video.